Welcome, everybody, to a new year with Rev Talk. I'm Reverend Beverly, and this is Reverend Kim. We are going to start the year off with some releasing and endings of things. Take it away, Kim.
Me? Okay. All right.
Well, you have the link to read first, and that's
Well, okay. So this was a prayer um, that one of the other reverends, Angel Amy, posted this morning, and I thought it was so beautiful, and I really liked it. It really spoke to me, and so I printed it out. And I think this will go hand in hand with what you've been practicing as well. So I'll read this, and then we can move on from there.
okay.
So what it says, I release my parents from the feeling that they have failed with me. I release my children from the need to make me proud so that they can write their own ways according to their hearts. I release my partner from the obligation to make me feel complete. I lack nothing in myself. I learn with all the beings that surround me through all time. I thank my grandparents and ancestors who met so that today I breathe life. And I release them from the faults of the past and from the wishes they did not fulfill, aware that they did the best they could to resolve their situation within the consciousness they had in that moment. I honor them, I love them, and I recognize their innocence. I bare my soul before their eyes, and that is why they know that I did not hide or owe anything more than being faithful to myself and my own existence, walking with the wisdom of the heart. I am aware that I am fulfilling my life project free of visible and invisible family loyalties that may disturb my peace and my happiness, which are my greatest responsibilities. I, I renounce the role of savior, of being the one who unites or who fulfills the expectations of others. And learning through love, I bless my essence and my way of expressing, although there may be someone who cannot understand me. I understand myself because only I lived and experienced my story, because I know myself. I know who I am, what I feel, what I do, and why I do it. I respect and approve. I honor the divinity in me and in you. We are free.
I think that it is so amazing and perfect timing with the releasing we've been doing because of the moon and the closeness of our ancestors.
Yes.
And it just all fits perfectly. I was meditating the other day and I saw them all coming in. And it made me mad because I wanted to see who was who, and I wanted them to tell me, but they didn't. They would just parade around me. And I've been working with a lot on my grandfather was Cherokee Indian, and the lineage down and the stories he had told. And it just brought to my understanding and my feelings of why I like nature so much. That's what he taught me. Everything that they did everything in nature, used everything in nature, and they replenished everything they used. And it's just a cycle, you use, you reuse, you purpose, you plant, just secular. And it was such a wonderful experience because they were so close with this new moon. And I was trying to think of something that was brought to me, but nothing's coming up to my head right now. But it is good to know that they are free too. We did in one of our classes the releasing of the bonds and the bad that the ancestors, the patterns that they had created that weren't on our highest good right now. And that's exactly what that poem was saying, you have your ancestors, you're releasing them from their choices that you've carried forward. Therefore, it ended for them, it's ended for you, and you have your new beginning.
I love that. I love that. And the fact that your grandfather is Cherokee, there's a whole lineage there and a whole ancestry there that not only um was a part of the land. It's a part of you, and you were able to release and to see him, along with
Yeah.
everybody else. I love that. I love the fact that they came in and they were all there. Like it says, I learn with all the beings that surround me through all time. So we're never alone. They are always with us. And so what we're doing is, like you said, is we're releasing that negative, that baggage, and we're allowing
Exactly.
them to be
Released as well.
released, and as pure as they are, and allows that baggage, so we aren't carrying that as well,
That's
and all we
exactly
remember is
right.
like the good things, the helpful lessons, everything that we learned from them, and they're still with us, so they're free to be with us and to continue on as well.
That's exactly right. You don't realize when you take the time to release, you're releasing the entities on both sides.
Right.
That has been involved in that, and it's helping them to, whether they're here or in spirit, it's still a release for them, and it raises their vibrations.
Absolutely. And
Hmm?
and that goes along in hand with forgiveness. And there are some people that's like, I would tell somebody, you need to forgive this. And they're like, I don't want to forgive them. I said, it's not for them, it's for you. You forgive them for yourself so that you're not carrying that weight. You're not carrying that, all that negative energy, that anger, that whatever. You're doing the forgiveness. I mean, it's benefiting them, obviously, but it's for you, you
Well,
know.
I remember my mother was quite ill, and it was a long time dying. Her kidneys were failing, and he took a girlfriend. And here's my mom on her deathbed, and he's got a girlfriend, and I had to go and drive the car down to her house that he bought her for Christmas, where my mom couldn't have it, and all these things. And then they get married. And I wasted almost 15 years of my life with hatred and anger for how she hurt my mother, that I wasn't even allowed to see or have time with my dad. So when my dad got ill and got Alzheimer's, she put him in a home. I couldn't even see him unless she gave me permission. I couldn't take him out of the state home and bring him home to die because she was his wife.
Oh my.
But then I look back, and it was all that time I wasted not forgiving, because everybody has their choices. Everybody chooses what they're doing, not realizing the consequences.
Right.
You have to take your time and think before you react. But most of the people don't. So I reacted out of anger for my mother, and that was her place. She could have put her foot down and said something. She didn't. I could have reacted with love and compassion and understanding. My dad was lonely, had no one to talk to. But it's just so many things you could have done that I've carried with me for almost 15, 20 years now, because they've been dead that long. I was able to finally release it all and forgive them. So forgiveness is very important. Even something as simple as a child breaks something that you really like in the house, and you're so mad at him and you don't want him over the house anymore. No, forgive him. An accident was there and an accident happened. He's going to berate himself and be so afraid to even come to your house again. So, I mean,
Right.
forgiveness is very, very important.
It is. And it's I think sometimes it's more important for you forgiving than it is who you're forgiving. It's more important for yourself to forgive, because regardless of what they do, and there are some people that walk around, they don't realize or care that they've
What
done,
it, mhm.
so, you're hanging on to this anger, and it's just you. It's that old adage that I've heard about, somebody drinking poison thinking it's going to hurt the other person. You know,
Well, I remember in one of our classes, they talked about this man that ran into a schoolmate of his, and he was afraid to even say hello to him because he had shunned him.
yes.
And he didn't even realize he had done that because
Right.
when he hugged him, he was being overly calm. And you have to forgive yourself first before you could forgive others.
Right.
The only way, and the incidents will always be there. It's what you make of it and how you accept or react to it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And there's so much there's so much that we carry with us throughout our lives, and a lot of people unknowingly, and I'm just starting to know from past lives that carry forward things that you don't even realize that you've had your ancestors. And so this is why it's really good to thank your grandparents and your ancestors and forgive them and release them, because you know what, there's all kinds of stuff that's been carried forward, and once you let that go, everybody is released, everybody is free, everybody is able to move forward as their highest and best selves.
Well, it opens up a whole new door for you once you forgive them,
Right.
because you no longer live their battles anymore.
Oh, that's
You
perfect.
become yourself to do your own battling. And the example was my great aunt, who was a psychic, and she was ousted because of that. So all this time we kind of poo-pooed any spirituality. And now that I've released her and my family for that, I'm able to go forward and learn more. So it opens up avenues all over.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, and you did say something. Now you said before we got on here that you did a releasing for your
My
family,
daughter,
your
my
daughter.
family.
Yeah,
Mhm.
down in
Yeah.
California. And so tell me about that, because
What I did was it was a ritual with Rebecca Campbell, and it was honoring endings so you can have new beginnings.
okay.
And the question she asked, what do you want to end so it no longer causes you pain? And I said the guilt of leaving my grandchildren in California and moving to Washington, because I've lost that bond and doing everything with them, going to the school functions, and I really feel bad. And then of course on the other end, they tell you he shouldn't have
You
done
should
it.
feel bad.
So I was able to release them by realizing that. And what I found is I acknowledged that guilt, but realized the closeness and the bond will never be gone. So that immediately took me to the next step, which was, it feels terrible and you feel lonely, and you feel so sad because I can't, like right now, my granddaughter, she's got a growth behind her left ear,
Right.
and they just did an MRI today to find out what it is, because she's losing her hearing and she's 7. So I want to be there. I want to be there with her, and I can't, but the bond is there. I picked up FaceTime and we talked, and she's her normal self. It's not getting her down. She's not aware of it, but it released me for the ending, so I don't feel guilty anymore. I still have that bond with them down there. And that, by being able to do that, I'm able to move forward and acknowledge that the bond is intact, and the physical contact when I go down there will be there. It hasn't vanished because we had a foundation, we had a bond, we're family, we're soulmates. In all my travels spiritually, my family that's with me for 3 generations, we've all been the same people, just in different positions. Like my dad was my mother, and things like that. and I was Lindsay's sister, not mother. And so there's a lot more in that bonding
Mhm.
we don't see because it is in a different dimension than us, but
Right.
it's there. And that's what people carry forward through wisdom. And that's what we're always asking the agents about. Give me your wisdom. Show me where I can keep that knowledge and be able to use it forward and pay it forward to people who need to learn these things.
Right.
It was, and one of the things on human design it was saying right now is you got to know when to speak. And that's hard because you want to tell everybody and got to wait till they invite you and then they'll accept it. Otherwise, you're just talking through your mouth.
Right.
That's something that I've realized. I don't expound anymore. I'm able to sit back and I'm observing. And my grandson was giving me all these different ideas, but everything he said was negative. I said, okay, I got to say something. I said, you've got to change out how you look because everything you say is just going to build and build and it's going to be horrible because you haven't said one positive thing. And so today something happened where Casey had to go and I emailed her, our handyman got in a car accident, so he's not able to put her new front door in. And instead of her going negative, she said, oh, I'm glad he's okay, but I guess I won't have my new door this winter. And I said, great thing you said, Casey, without realizing it. So I've been expounding this to the family and
Up on it.
little bits are sinking in.
Absolutely.
And, so that was a blessing in disguise. And I acknowledged it for her and told her, congratulations, you didn't go off the deep end.
That's great. That's great.
Oh,
Well,
that was good.
and so there she is, learning that and flipping that lens. And of course, her family is all there. They're going to see that,
And then,
hopefully that expands outward for them. So that's beautiful. That's beautiful.
yeah.
You did, oh my gosh, kudos to you. That's awesome. Well, you did
So,
well.
every little bit helps,
It does.
one another and it ripples out. And that's why you have to release and let people go and make their choices because my grandkids now are adults. They're not children.
Right.
They're responsible for themselves. And the little ones will see all this and they'll absorb it and they'll be a better person for that.
Absolutely. And again, it is their journey. So, you might not necessarily like what they're doing or where they're the direction they're going in. And that is unconditional love, is to let them do that, is to let them live their life, is to let them make their choices and their journey and not interfere, by saying, well, you should really be doing this, or you should, maybe you shouldn't do that. And I said this to somebody the other day, you have to stop shooting all over yourself.
Oh, that's good.
I should have done this, I should have done, stop shooting all over yourself. You know what? Accept, again, I respect and approve. That means
Yes.
not only of them, also of yourself. And that's important.
That's important because you're telling somebody it's your choice, and yet you're thinking, oh my gosh, I got to do this because he'll fall flat on his face and I'm going to have to pay this when it's not.
Right.
It's his choice and you've approved it.
That's right. And
Yeah.
and everybody's going to learn. Everybody. That's one of the big reasons why we're here, is
Oh,
to learn. And so praise everybody for living their life and making their choices and learning from them, because it all benefits everybody. I mean, you learn a lesson and you see somebody else and they may ask you, you can say, oh, you know what, I learned this is what I learned. So maybe that person will say, maybe I don't want to do it that way.
yeah.
So
Oh,
I have this kind of an experience. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, it's so true that you have to experience to learn it.
Yeah.
If we'd be so smart and just take all the knowledge people have told us and done what they said, we wouldn't have to go through all this. Yeah, you know?
Except, but here's the thing. Part of this prayer was, I understand myself because only I lived and experienced my story.
That's right.
Because
That's
I know myself.
my story.
I know who I am, what I feel, what I do, and why I do it. So you may look at somebody and say, well, I would not have done it that way. Well, of course not. They're not you, and their experience is unique, just like you are unique.
That's one thing Rebecca kept saying. No matter what, some people check, for endings, they wanted a new job, so they wanted to end this job. Some have relationship problems, someone's got new houses, but you have to turn and thank the ones you're releasing, but then go forward for you and what you want, because it's now your turn. And she just said, just realize once you release them and with gratitude, then you are allowed to go forward with love.
Yes,
Mhm.
that's beautiful. I love that. So yes, lots of releasing, releasing of
Yes.
good information. That is awesome. So I don't know, is there anything else you want to add? Check your notes.
I'm beginning to really love rituals now that I understand them, and they're very important because it cements what we've learned through that period. Like the releasing ritual, it completed it, it ended it. The next one, like the new moon, the rising sun, I mean, they're seasonal. And I think I'm going to delve further into it and see which ones are calling to me, because it's a completion of a unit that you've learned. And you're honoring it, no matter what it is, summer, winter, spring, fall, if it's night, dark, moon, sun. It's very important because we're all one.
Yes,
We're all one.
yes, we are. So with that, my friend,
I am complete.
got that in stereo. That was awesome.
Mhm.
So again, thank you everyone for joining us on Rev Talk and starting out our brand new year with Rev Talk with releasing of the old. We should have had champagne. Darn. Next time.
Okay, that's fine with me.
Me too. So again, remember everyone to please be gentle with yourself and be kind to yourself. And remember that you are unique in all the universe. There will never be another just like you in all of space and time. You are powerful, you are cherished, and you are loved. And without you, the song of the universe would be incomplete. Until next time, my friends, be well.